Hello everyone, good day. Welcome in 8234 Management Behavior and Education. I am Precision Idao, your reporter for today. And I have two topics here. First, the trans-theoretical model. Second, the health belief model. Okay, first, the trans-theoretical model. It is also called stages of change model and explains an individual's readiness to change their behavior. So this model, it becomes one of the most commonly applied theoretical and clinical frameworks in mental health, and it is effective across a broad spectrum of problems, including smoking, alcohol abuse, addiction, skull bullying, and many more. The trans-theoretical model, it has six stages of change model. Okay, first, the pre-contemplation. Second, contemplation. Third is preparation. Fourth, action. Fifth, maintenance. Sixth is termination. Okay, and pre-contemplation, so there is no intention of taking action. So this means that in this stage, it reveals the unmotivated people who see no need to find a solution to a problem because they usually do not believe that one exists. So people in this stage often make comments like, I don't see a problem with what I'm doing, so there's no need to change anything. Okay, example in smoking. John smokes a pack a day, but dismisses health concerns. So he says, everyone dies of something and I enjoy smoking. So John isn't thinking about quitting. Okay, second is the contemplation. So in contemplation, there are intentions to take action and plan to do so in the near future. So, which means people in this stage are more open to receive information regarding their behaviors and finding solutions to correct them. So, example, Sarah knows smoking is bad for her health and wants to quit eventually. So she weighs the pros and cons of quitting but hasn't set the date yet. And next is the preparation. So preparation is the third stages of change model. So in this stages of change model, there is intention to take action and some steps have been taken. At this point of change process, the person begin gathering information from various sources like counseling or change-oriented programs as they started to develop a plan of action. For example, David has decided to quit smoking in a month. He researches nicotine replacement therapy or NRT, joins a support program, and tells his family about his plan. Okay, next is the fourth stages, which is action. So in action, behavior has been changed and intent to keep moving forward. So during this stage, the change has happens. The people gain confidence as they believe that they have the willpower to continue on the journey of change. For example, David has successfully quit smoking for 2 weeks. He uses NRT and avoids triggers like smoking areas. So he experiences cravings but resists them. Okay. So next is maintenance. In maintenance, behavior has been changed and continues to be maintained for the long term. So as the people process through this stage, they can maintain a new status quo and can remind themselves of the progress they have made. So at times, they may have thoughts of returning to old habits. However, they resist the temptation and remain on track because of the positive strides they have made. Okay, example. It's been a year since Lisa quit smoking. She occasionally experiences cravings but manages them with healthy coping mechanisms. She feels healthier and is proud of her accomplishment. So that is. Okay, last is determination. Okay, in termination, there is no desire to return to prior negative behaviors. So, termination is the final stage, or it is not often included in the stages of change because it is difficult to achieve. It describes a period of with zero temptation for relapse and the achievement of 100% self-efficacy. So it is important to note that people don't always move through stages in a linear fashion. So there can be setbacks or relapse, and people may move back and forth between stages. So let's proceed to 10 processes of change. Okay, the 10 processes of change, it comes from the trans-theoretical model, which describes the stages of change that people go through. First is consciousness raising. So it is increasing awareness of the problem behavior. Example, Sarah has been gaining weight and doesn't feel good about her health. She starts reading articles about healthy eating and the benefits of exercise. Second is dramatic relief. It is experiencing a strong emotional response to the problem behavior, either positive or negative. Example, Sarah sees a picture of herself from a year ago and realizes how much weight she has gained. She feels scared and motivated to make a change. Okay, next is self-re-evaluation. Okay. It is reassessing one's self-identity and values in relation to the desired behavior change. Example, Sarah realizes that she wants to be a healthier person so that she can keep up with her active kids. Okay. Fourth is environmental reevaluation. Okay, in environmental reevaluation, it is examining one's physical and social environment for cues that prompt unhealthy behaviors and identifying ways to change the environment. For example, Sarah talks to her coworkers about setting healthy snacking boundaries in the break room. Okay, next is social liberation. So it is identifying and changing social influences that make it difficult to change behavior. Example, Sarah starts spending more time with friends who enjoy healthy activities. Okay. Six is self-liberation. Okay, self-liberation, it is believing in one's ability to change and make choices that will lead to success. Okay, example, Sarah starts to feel more confident that she can lose weight and improve her health. Okay, next is helping relationships. Okay, it is seeking and accepting support from others for making a change. Example, Sarah joins a weight loss support group and talks to her friends and family about her goals. Okay. 8. Counter conditioning. Okay, it is substituting unhealthy behaviors with healthy alternatives. Okay, example, Sarah replaces her evening habit of watching TV with going for a walk. Okay. 9 is reinforcement management. So it is identifying and arranging rewards for engaging in the desired behavior. Okay, example, Sarah rewards herself with a new outfit after she loses her first 5 pounds. Okay, last is stimulus control. Okay, it is identifying and altering situations that trigger unhealthy behaviors. Okay, example, Sarah gets rid of all the junk food in her house and starts stocking with it and healthy snacks. Okay, so those are the process that can use at different stages of change, and some may be more important than others depending on the specific situation. We have here other factors that influence behavior change. First, decisional balance. So this refers to the person's weighing of the pros and cons of changing their behavior. So for successful change, the benefits need to outweigh the drawbacks. And second is self-efficacy. This is the person's belief in their ability to change their behavior. So if someone doubts their ability to stick with a new routine, they're less likely to even try. Building self-efficacy involves setting achievable goals, celebrating successes, and learning from setbacks. Third is processes of change. And these are the strategies that people use to change their behavior. And understanding these factors allow us to target interventions that addresses these specific needs of individuals are trying to change. Okay, that's all for the first topic. Let's move on to my second topic, the health belief model or HBM. It is a social, psychological health behavior change model that attempts to explain and predict health-related behavior. So this model identifies six key components that affect a person's decision to engage in a particular health behavior. And the six components are perceived susceptibility, perceived severity, perceived benefits, perceived barriers, cues to action, and self-efficacy. Okay, so let's discuss the six key components. Okay, first is the perceived susceptibility. So this is the person's belief about how likely they are to contract a particular disease or illness. Example, a 35-year-old man with a family history of heart disease believes he has a high chance of developing the condition himself. Okay, second is the perceived severity. This is a person's belief about how serious the consequences of a particular disease or illness would be. Example, a woman who knows someone who died from complications of diabetes fears the potential consequences of the disease. The third is the perceived benefits. This is a person's belief about how effective a particular health behavior would be in preventing or reducing the severity of a disease or illness. Example, a teenager understands that getting the HPV vaccine can significantly reduce their risk of cervical cancer later in their life. Okay, next is the perceived barriers. This is a person's belief about the obstacles that might prevent them from engaging in a particular health behavior. Example, an elderly woman with limited mobility might perceive joining a gym class as a barrier to regular exercise. Okay. Next is cues to action. So these are internal or external triggers that motivate a person to take action. This could be a personal experience with a disease, a media campaign, or a doctor's recommendation. Example, a person experiencing chest pain, so this is internal cue, might be prompted to see a doctor doctor for a heart checkup. Alternatively, a public health campaign about the importance of flu shots, and this is the external cue, might encourage someone to get vaccinated. Okay, so last is the self-efficacy. So this is the person's confidence in their ability to success out a particular health behavior. Okay, example, a person who successfully quit smoking for a month feels confident in their ability to maintain a smoke-free lifestyle. To sum up it all, I compared the two models, which is a Tan's theoretical model and the health belief model. So the Tan's theoretical model, or the TTM, and the health belief model, or HBM, are both influential frameworks used to understand and promote health behavior change, but they focus on different aspects. Okay, so their focus in TTM, or trans theoretical model, or the stages of change, it emphasizes an individual's readiness to adopt a new behavior. And while in HBM, or the health belief model, there is a psychological factors influencing behavior. It emphasizes the beliefs that make someone more likely to change. Okay, so that would be all. Thank you.